Hi folks, just a good quick video. I did a video and then at the end of it I realised the important point of that video that I hadn't included. Because I had to go and speak to someone pretty quickly, so I did the video quicker. Maybe than what I should have done, but there you go. So I'll do it again. That's cool. It's now nearly 5:20 on the 11th of June 2020. Okay. Right, okay. In the last video, is it really racist? I linked a video on it. Vice News, Black South Rising. Now, there's a governor talking about the fact that part of the problem in that area is that you had an increase of violence in the area where the brown people were living, brown skinned people were living, and that makes the cops nervous or more nervous. You also have a point where people are saying that they don't trust the police, which then leads the police not trusting them. And of course, if somebody doesn't trust you, then the way you deal with that person is that you can't really trust that person, because the fact they don't trust you, their reaction to something is going to be very, very different to your reaction to something. So, or to how someone who trusts you would normally react to you, because they're expecting the worst from you. So, yeah. Now, in that video linked, you also see a man who was killed in that area a number of years ago. He was crouching down talking to someone in a car. He was at the passenger door with the door open, so he was speaking to the driver. And it had been reported that there's a man there with a gun. So the police arrived and they surrounded this man. And this female officer was screaming that this man has a gun and demanding that he drops his weapon. Of course, for quite a while, he's just frozen. Doesn't really know what to do, because he does have a gun, but his gun is sealed away safely, on his person. So, of course, in order to drop his gun, he's got to then take his gun out. So, what should he have done? No idea, because you're not him. I mean, you could say he should have just got on his belly and said, I'm going to get down. Yeah. The problem is that wasn't what the officer was demanding of him. So, of course, he then tries to comply. He uses two fingers to take the gun out and to drop it on the floor. As soon as he goes anywhere near his gun, bang, 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 shot. The officer shoots him. He then looks at her and says, you told me to do that. But then he dies. Now, you've got this situation where, according to what people keep saying, you've got this reaction solution situation. There's more violence in an area, so the police get more nervous. The police get more nervous or fearful. So then, because they're more fearful, they react in a different way, which then means that people react in a different way, which then they become fearful, which then means that now the police become more fearful, which then means that people become more fearful. In no time, you have what the Bible calls a spirit of fear, which is that absolute spirit of dread that can come across people. And the problem is, you've got it in both communities here. Or both. You've got it in the brown people who live in those areas, because for years and years and years, their parents and grandparents have been telling the stories about the abuse that they've had to suffer at the hands of the white man. So, of course, you come across white man, what do you expect? You expect abuse, therefore you're fearing abuse. So as you grow up, you're growing up in fear. It's unnatural fear. It's not godly fear, it's demonic fear. That's what you're being taught by your so-called God-fearing parents and grandparents. And the police are being done the same. They fear the brown person because they look at this community and they don't understand it. Of course they don't understand. If you're a white police officer, you don't understand the community where they speak about each other as brothers and sisters, even though they're not related, because of the colour of their skin. You know, if you, being a so-called white person, spoke in that way, you'd be considered as racist. There's an awful lot of double standards where someone who's brown can use certain words or can say certain things and it's counted as, oh, well, that's cute. Whereas if a white person says it, or so-called white person, that's racist. So, of course, the police can't understand this community, that, although it's not a community. Again, it's a group of communities, but again, part of their understanding there is when you hear them talk about when they're protesting, they talk about them as a community, as in all brown people are one community, which of course you're not. No. But so you have this spirit of fear that's infecting everyone. So of course, the man, he's talking to someone at a car door. Suddenly he's surrounded by the police. There's a dread that comes over him. On this video that I linked to the last video that I did, the Black Self-Rising Vice News Tonight. I think it's called Vice News Tonight. I don't know. It's called Vice News Tonight. There you go. But on that, you see, as I say, you see what's happening in that. I think it was a police camera. Could even be the female officer's camera that's actually videoing it. And you see this man doesn't move, doesn't try to do anything at all. Because quite clearly in his mind, anything he does could result in his death. And that spirit of fear has come upon him. The officer also has a spirit of fear upon her. Because she looks at him and she's like, oh God, he's got a gun. Oh no, he's got a gun. Oh shit, he's got a gun. Oh my Lord, he's got a gun. She's not saying all those things, but you listen to her voice. She's panicking. She's afraid. And because she's afraid, as soon as he reaches for a gun, even though that's what she's ordering him to do, she shoots. Now, was ordering him to drop his weapon the wise move from a police officer's point of view? Probably not. If you don't see a weapon, you have to assume either he hasn't got a weapon, so he can't do that, or the weapon is secured safely, so therefore you have to take the weapon out, in which case you're going to probably shoot him. He's now going for his weapon, which, so tell him to get on the floor on his face with his hands behind his back, because if his hands behind his back, he can't bloody shoot you from there, can he? But of course, she's full of fear. She's just, saying the thing that, generally speaking, you say when someone's got a weapon. Drop your weapon, drop your weapon, drop your weapon. It's fear. It's that spirit of fear. And the problem is that spirit of fear is in the community. And also with that spirit of fear, it makes people angry that they have it. That these people cause me to feel in this way. That's why you have police cars driving through people. Driving their cars at people. That's why the police are pepper spraying people in the face for no reason whatsoever. They are angry because the fear that they are feeling isn't natural. And they're blaming the brown people for that fear. And they're hitting out because of that. Now, I'm not blaming. You can't blame the people with brown skin for that. The fact they were born with brown skin, you can't say the police are rightly assaulting these people because the fear they have is caused by these people. It's not. It isn't. The fear you have is caused by God. By the devil. The devil has put all that in you, all that fear, all that hatred. It's all dark, it's all twisted, it's all unnatural, it's wrong. It's stuff you need to let go. And if you've got police officers who can't let that stuff go, they shouldn't be police officers. Simple as that. They really shouldn't be. You're in the wrong job. If you are going to be walking through a spirit of fear in your job, when you have a gun, and you believe you have a law behind you that means if you shoot someone and kill them, even unlawfully, you'll be protected, you shouldn't be working in the industry, not in any way, shape, or form. I did videos the other day that explains why the police unions are fearful of change, why they're fearful of allowing reform to happen. And again, you can understand that. Some of that fear is unnatural, but some of it is perfectly natural. When you see the way the left has behaved, the way they have encouraged people to use Twitter to try and destroy people who have said or done something sexist or out of order in the past. You can understand why the police unions are like, I don't want to let any of that anywhere near these officers. A video I did, I think it was yesterday or the day before, was talking about perceived racism. And that perceived racism will be enough to get these officers fired. So, of course, as a union, you want to protect your people. You don't want to let any reform come in where it can be easier to prosecute officers. Even though it needs to be easier to prosecute officers because there are some bad officers. So, folks, you've got to understand where things are coming from. If you're going to solve this problem in any way, shape, or form, you've got to understand the problem at all its levels. And one side could say, okay, we'll have a completely clean slate. But with the other side still fearful and still acting fearfully and still being unpredictable, would you want to be the side doing that? I mean, you'd be taking a risk, wouldn't you? You'd need to be blinking strong because there's quite a good chance if the brown-skinned people do that, and if they're the ones that do it, and there's another police unlawful killing, then they're going to have to be strong or give up on that, aren't they? They're going to have to be strong and say, no, we're not going to start hating the police. We're not going to start fearing the police again. That was one incident. We've started again now. So we're not going to go back on the old ways of... That's a tough thing to expect of anyone. Really a tough thing to expect of anyone. When you've had a history, and it is a history, on both sides there's been a history, okay? I mean, I was understanding earlier that there's a lot of information that we don't have. For example, are there reasons why the police have this unnatural fear of the so-called black community? Are there a lot of examples where the police have pulled people over and the people have just shot the police officer dead for no reason whatsoever? Are there examples of that? Are there a lot of examples? Are there a few? What's the situation there? If there was, then it'd be more understandable that the police are so nervous when they pull someone over who happens to have brown skin. But again, we don't know. Is there a lot of that happens? No idea, because nobody's really talking about why these things happen. They're just talking about the fact that these things happen and that's disgraceful. Yeah, it is. We've got that. We know that. We know it's absolutely disgraceful for an officer to kill someone for a chokehold or for putting their knee on their neck or for shooting someone for complying with what the police have actually just told you to do. This stuff is out of order. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's evil. It's murder. Simple. It's wrong. We know that. Let's try and work at understanding why these things are happening. Because you can't fix anything unless you understand why. If you know there's a problem, okay, move on. Move to the next stage now. Why is there a problem? Do that. Ugh. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot there. There's a lot to talk about that could be the problem, that could be this, could be that, could be the other. Spirit of fear is one thing that just became an obvious thing that is there among both sides. Yeah, I'm watching something called, what is it? Oh, jeez. Don't know. I can't tell you. Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, I think it is. And you've got this demonic sort of character, Penny Dreadful, who's this character that wants to create anarchy. She wants people to attack the police. She wants the police to shoot these people. She's trying to create anarchy. And you can see that there's something like that going on. There seems to be an unnatural thing going on there, where both sides are being pushed towards this conflict with each other all the time. That would be the spirit of fear. That's where the spirit of fear works. It wants to create hatred, because when you have a spirit of fear, you hate what that you fear, because of the fact it has so much power over you. So it means that the brown skinned people will hate the police will hate them. Vice versa, because they both have the spirit of fear. So they both have that intense hatred. So of course you've got incredible mistrust between the two. And that just means that the people that have got the badge, the people who have got the gun and the right to use the gun, these things are going to keep happening. You've got to deal with this. The spirit of fear is one of the worst things you can actually allow to run riot. Especially if you want to have change, if you think that you could ever be in a position where you can sort this out, you've got to deal with the spirit of fear. But as I say, not an easy thing to deal with. And the state of Christianity, I've done videos about the state of Christianity in America and in the UK, in Europe. It's not very good right now. Now, hopefully, that's going to start improving. And when it does, then maybe some solutions will be made available, at least to deal with the spirit of fear. And I think if that's dealt with, other things will be so much easier to deal with. So there you go. You take care, God bless, and I will speak to you soon.